welcome to my channel. This is the midweek whip and chat, and I will go through some more of these conversation starter questions. I think these aren't going to be repeated. I would hope that they're not. I was just trying to look, and let's start with question number 30. I'll put the link to this in the description. Yeah, starting at question 30, and we'll see how we go. Alright, grab your work and we will spend some time together and see how we go with this lot. Okay, how is everyone going with shutdowns and everything else, and crazy worlds and crazy rules and government conspiracy theories? Aren't they fun? They can actually be quite fun. Yeah, we've apparently missed the alien invasion, and we've also missed the rapture, so yeah. Have you got your tinfoil hat? I'm looking for an E in my bag because I've just spotted... Gosh, this is frustrating. The E on this label is slightly off, but there's one E in the center. Oh god, there's a B as well. 26, and I did see a B. Sorry. I have them all taken out. I've got them all, just the rest of them all off to the side. And I thought I had them really all out. You. Alright. I think that's the couple of weird strays. Oh, my daughter is a butthead. She was into my box and she's shuffled them around. Oh. Seriously, Sophie trying to get her down for a sleep today was just a complete joke. She was driving me nuts. Let's go with the lighter colours, and I'll get, I suppose I'll get you up to speed, really. This last week has been a fairly light week for me working. I ended up in so much pain with my lower back. I ended up going to the doctor, and whether or not I should be on these drugs, I don't know, but he's put me on some drugs at night to help with the pain, and told me to have hot baths, and gave me a couple of days off work. So I've been overdoing it in my 2 days off, and now I've got the weekend, and I'm trying to just get through today and tomorrow without twinging the back, and then hopefully it'll start actually recovering. That's the plan. I also need to talk to my boss about working from home. My husband is quite concerned that his immune system isn't as good as it should be, and if I was to bring something home, he would be compromised by that. And yeah, he's worried that this bloody thing will take him out, and I'm not willing for that to happen. And also with that decision is that Sophie is pint-sized. She's still a tiny, tiny weight. She hasn't got lung issues or anything else. In fact, she can scream without any issues. But I don't want to take any risks with her being infected by this unnecessarily either. So yes, the email is going to be drafted, and I will be putting my hand up to do working from home, and that might mean a change of role for me, as I support my colleagues in a different kind of manner. Other than that, it's pretty much business as usual, I suppose. Back to work on Monday. See what happens. We have a new cleaning roster that we're all sharing, which would be good, because when I said to some of the girls last week, who is it, or if anyone is cleaning the trolleys that we cart files around with, and they said no one, we don't have time. And that kind of attitude sucked balls, really. And the other attitude was that one of the workers had been off sick and she had returned to work not fully better. So that wasn't impressive either. Now, it was just a cold, but that's not the point. When we're hyper vigilant, we don't even need a normal cold, you know, let alone anything else going through the workplace. So yeah, wasn't impressed with that one. The social distancing thing is happening in much greater detail. There's X's on the floor everywhere to mark your zone. No, my husband's just said a little old lady is now dreaming about lines. If I can, I will post a picture, if I remember. I'll post a picture of what my workplace looks like, where you go to the front counter. And you can see, yeah, it's probably all over, but yeah, this was something. Look, I think photos are really important for this kind of thing, because our younger kids, Sophie is not going to remember this time, but we are going to remember this time, and it's good to have the photos to say, this is what it was like, you know, when the world went into meltdown and we couldn't talk to each other except having 3 meters, 2 meters of distance between us all. So, yeah, it is worth taking pictures of your local neighborhood, taking pictures of what you do, making a journal of what you do each day, to be able to share, you know, with your grandkids potentially. I think having that record is really important, just like it was important for people who've gone through the war to be able to tell their stories, and other massive life events. So don't negate the mundane that you do today, because what's mundane and everyday for you may not be in the future for our children and our grandchildren, and having that photographic evidence will be something that they will be able to, you know, have that little bit greater input, and kind of go, oh wow, you did such and such, and you know, you connected by whatever, you know. There's so many apps. I'm finding out about new apps for video kind of conferencing, or I think Zoom has been a name that I've heard, brand new. In Australia, WhatsApp is not a new thing. Sorry, it is a fairly new thing. My colleagues had been using it in one degree, but it's something that my sister in Ireland told me about, and we now have a family group chat so that we can keep in touch. I have heard that Ireland has a 2-kilometre radius, I think, that you're limited to. You're not allowed to travel beyond 2k from your home. And she was saying that that means they can go to one of their allotments but not the other one, because they have a shared allotment. So slightly bizarre when you want people to be, you know, self-sufficient, I suppose, and stay healthy and stay active. You restrict them in this way, and I think it also means that they're limited to how close they can get to my dad. My sister actually lives close to my dad, and she said that they could meet halfway between the two. So yeah, it means meeting on the road rather than meeting at his house and keeping things contained, I suppose. So yeah, it's all a little bit weird. Spoke to my brother in Ireland, so that was nice to have a catch up with him. And yeah, it's just kind of like catching up on news and things like that. I haven't actually caught up on the news big time this morning, which is kind of nice. My husband did wonder if I was paying too much attention to the news, and maybe that was having an effect. I don't know. I'll hold judgment off on that one. I know the whole scenario is kind of stressful. So yes, okay. Moving on. I was actually thinking of doing some kind of COVID processing kind of place where all we talk about is COVID. how we're coping, but it needed to be in a kind of live or premiere so that people can actually process what they're going through rather than just having no mention of it on YouTube. I don't know if you would find that useful. Please let me know. And it could be something that I do next weekend. Maybe I go live next weekend, Friday early evening, before Jennifer and Mrs. Coffee go live, and we have a really frank COVID chat for an hour or so and say, you know, share tips, share how we're going. Things are different in different parts of the world, I know, and there might be different coping mechanisms. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that one, if that would be something that would interest you. Oh, turn around. This weekend we've also put some shade sails up on our back deck, so that is keeping some of the sun out of the lounge, so the curtain is open a little bit more. So that's been interesting, having that bit of a change. My husband has been working like a trooper doing that. He's gone out to get some more supplies to fill in some of the gaps that the triangles are making. So we have like a bazillion triangle sails instead of just having one great big one, because we're restricted to the anchor points that we have. But hey, that's life. What else is going on? Everything that I have seen, the stores that are staying open, the takeaways that are staying open, are now moving to allowing deliveries. So they're adapting, they're you know, trying to compromise, trying to keep their business active and things like that. So I've been keeping an eye on that. Now, we're not big takeaway eaters anyway, and my husband would probably balk at the fact of wanting to keep, you know, some of the businesses going. But I do think it's really, really cool that they are offering these kind of things. And yes, I do want to support some of the businesses that I would ordinarily have done, and keep them going as in the smallest way that I can do. So I think that's really, really cool. Our supermarkets are now calling for more employees. Our Centrelink, which is kind of like government payments, they're looking for more employees. So things are changing. A lot of people have been put out of work, but there are positives as well in all of this. Neighbours are talking to neighbours that they haven't done before, and I think that's really, really cool. There's actually a group, Kindness Pandemic, I think it's called, on Facebook, and it's got nearly 50,000 or 500,000 members at this stage. It's huge. But if you really want some positivity, that is a really good group to go for. So, alright, enough of the dreary kind of thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful day out. It's autumn, so we're in the mid-20s. I'm just looking at my phone to see if it will tell me the temperature. It's 23 degrees in Hobart. Hey Google, what's 23 degrees in Fahrenheit? Hey Google, what is 23 degrees centigrade in Fahrenheit?
23 degrees Celsius equals 73.4 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, so we're in the 70s for you non-Celsius people, which is gorgeous. It's just beautiful, and having that extra shade and everything else, it's just, yeah, it's just a beautiful day. Doors are open, and yeah, loving it, absolutely loving it. Don't like the stinking heat, but this is just, it's cool, it's refreshing, it's the sun is not too, it's not burny, bitey, nasty. The sun in Tasmania, because we have no ozone layer overhead, is bitey, and we're out of that bitey bit. And at one point I was taking a medication that made it bite even harder. That was nasty. That was yeah, that was not a fun time, but at least I figured out what was going on, and my GP just said, okay, we'll take you off that. So that was a good fix. Alright, I've been trying to do this all morning, to do this filming, and I'm a little bit miffed that it's now encroaching on my Mrs. Coffee live time, but I need to get this done while Sophie's asleep. As I said, she's been a bit of a troll today. First question says, what would your perfect morning be like? And I guess that's what the deck plan is all about. It's being able to sit outside on a day like today in, you know, the 70s, light breeze, with, you know, an outdoor setting, table chairs, coffee or hot chocolate, or even an iced coffee if it was a hot morning. Well, for a bit of indulgence, maybe some pain chocolats, chocolate croissants, you know, fresh this morning kind of thing, or even warm out of the oven. Oh my god, that would be divine. Yeah, something like that. Just being able to kick back in my Ugg boots and comfy clothes, and, you know, have the kids play nice. None of the squealing. Maybe the, you know, the TV not on. Maybe some music, or just chatting on the deck with hubby. That would be pretty cool. Is there any art or artist you're really into? Okay. Art or artist? I don't know. I don't know if I could name one particular artist. Probably, certainly couldn't name any of the classics. I think I like architecture more than I like paintings. I love going around cities and looking at the buildings. I went to Chester many years ago, like, you know, 20 plus years ago, and was, you know, craning my neck looking up at the gargoyles and everything else. It was just incredible. When I studied art history, it was things like the groin vaults and flying buttresses and all that kind of thing from the cathedral kind of time. So I love all of that. Love the gargoyles. Love that they're both functional and, okay, they're not necessarily pretty, but yeah. But artist, picture painting artist. I kind of like photography more than I like paintings. And it's probably easier for me to say what I don't like in art, and that's the whole paragraphs to describe what a 2-year-old could throw on a canvas. So something that is really just like splodge, splodge. It's the, you know, it's the esoteric struggle between man and, you know, cucumber, and it's just like, oh, what the fuck? Sorry? What the... Yeah, I don't... That kind of... That's not art. That's just wackadoodle stuff with big price tags. And you've got people who pay big price tags. I don't get any of that. That's just really weird. I do like realistic art. Yeah, I really like realistic art. I like seeing the skill that the artist has to make something look real and almost photographic, or, you know, that kind of thing, if that makes any sense. What am I always game for? I've got a bit shy, I think, on being game for anything. What am I always game for? I don't know. I'm not very spontaneous. I mean, yeah, I'll do a challenge, but I'm probably game for more than I used to be. I've kind of tried to get over myself a little bit. Doesn't always work. I'm very conscious that there's that whole premise of, you know, be seen in the photographs. It doesn't matter if you're fat, slim, whatever you think of yourself or anything else, your kids will want to see you. And you know, we'll cherish those memories, and that kind of hit home just a bit. Doesn't necessarily mean I get in all the photos, but I do try, and some of the photos I still hate. So there's that. But game for, yeah, oh, I don't know, maybe going for a walk or something, I don't know. What do you do to unwind? Probably not enough good things, good healthy things. I probably will pick up my phone and go to Facebook way more than I should, and I should pick up a book way more often. Whether it's disciplined enough to go, I'm not going on Facebook, I'm just going to go on my Kindle on my phone. I don't know, I don't read enough books for my mental health. Does that make sense? I would probably be better off if I went to the book before I went to Facebook. So my unwinding doesn't necessarily become a proper unwind, you know, off technology kind of break and that kind of thing. Because I'm on computers most of the time at work. I mean, okay, I deal with files and that kind of thing, but I'm still quite heavy on the computer between logging where the file's going or writing emails to people, and it just feels like a never-ending computer battle. So yeah, I have way too much computer time, so I need to have more non-computer time. What is my favorite app on my phone? Facebook? No, it's not my favorite. My favorite app on my phone. That one. Chat. Oh, God. That's my husband telling me that the sick girl that was in work at our local hardware store is still sitting there with security guards, apparently. Not quite sure what that means. But they're letting her continue to work, and they're letting her continue to mix with people, and apparently she was tested this in the last couple of days. She was swabbed, potentially, for coronavirus. Yeah. Alright. Moving on. Favorite app on my phone? Yeah, Chat is awesome. Google Chat. Google Chat is an app by Google, clearly, that allows you to have conversations, direct messaging with anyone. But what it also has is the ability to make rooms, so you can have subject areas. So you can go, this is the kids' room, and this is the kids' conversation in the kids' room. And you can search in your threads, and you can send links and photos and videos and all that kind of thing. And you can video chat and everything. You can have rooms that you share, or you can have rooms that you keep private. So I've got rooms for my vitamin supplements. So it's my reminder to me to say, hey, you're out of this, go to the store and get this. And I've got the most recent photo that I can just go and check, you know, what I want. If there's any shopping that I want. So we've got a 3D printing room. We've got a room for the kids' birthdays, just to have ideas, where we kind of spitball, really. We throw links into the room and we come together and we can, you know, read those links at a later date or whatever. It's a place that we find that we can store information to be able to retrieve it fairly easily. So yeah, Google Chat is brilliant. That is fantastic, and it works on your handheld device and your computer. It syncs and streams seamlessly. So if you're on the computer, it's on your phone, and it's the same. Really, really handy. So there's that. Cutest animal, ugliest animal. Sorry. That's not really a question. But cutest animal. The cutest animal I have seen, and I haven't seen them in real life, I do want to see them, would probably be the quokka. But I do also like the salamanders. I think they're really cute, and I love geckos. I love the just the behavior of the geckos and that kind of thing. I think they're awesome. Ugliest animal. Ugliest animal. Did I'm gonna drop that on me, I think. Let me take just a second. 40 here. Ugliest animal. There's some pretty ugly fish, like some really, really ugly fish. There's some weird animals. Like, sorry. Is it the tapir with the nose that doesn't actually do anything? They're weird. Don't know about ugly. They make it look cute on the cartoons. There's one with in one of the cartoons, like a Lion King kind of, or no, Madagascar, that kind of. She's one of the, who's it? Queen Latifah, I think, plays the voice of her. I could probably ask the kid, and she might know who I'm talking about. But yeah, it was a tapir, or a tapir even. They're strange. Armadillos, I think, are the coolest. And what was the armadillo in? It was the one with the gold. It was a cartoon. I can't think what it was. I think Sophie's awake. He was a little armadillo. And it was. They found the City of Gold. They found. Yeah. That was really cool, but he was cool, the armadillo. How it rolled up and all that kind of thing. We're currently watching his Dark Materials? The one that was based on the Golden Compass movie. Actually, this is the series, but anyway. Watching that on TV, and Lyra has a stoat, or a weasel, as her demon. And it's pretty cute watching that. But yes, ugly animals. Hyenas are pretty nasty. They're not exactly pretty, with their weird sloping bodies, and it seems like their front end doesn't match their back end, and that kind of thing. And ugly dogs with the underbites or overbites and other nasty defects, but that's more defect than, you know, inherently you're not a pretty animal as such. Bats can be fairly non-pretty with their teeth and their faces and things like that. They've got and moles. There's a mole with a star on its nose. Useful, but not necessarily pretty. But yeah, they've got uses, I suppose. So can you call them ugly if they've actually got a use for that particular function? Sophie, go and get some lunch. Daddy's going to get some things. What is a favourite piece of furniture you've ever owned? This, my desk, is pretty favourite. I've had this since I've been about 16. I'm trying to think if I had it before I was 16. Close the door, Sophie. Close the door, please. Yeah, close the door, Sophie. Close it. Close it. So yeah, this desk I've had since I was 16. It has always been a favourite. It's got little drawers up here, and it's got deep drawers down the bottom, and it's got a long kind of paper drawer in the middle. So lots and lots of storage. And it's pretty. It's a dark wood. It's got the funky handles that have these particular kind of rattly noises. And it's mine. I actually got my brother to ship it out to me from Ireland. Close the door, Sophie. Please listen. Yeah, this is why I wanted to have her asleep while I was doing my WiPnChat, because she's just doing her, I'm going to ignore you, and she'll probably go outside. She's already tried to ride down the steps this weekend. So she's got this lovely scrape on her cheek. Carmen, can you take her and change her, please?
Yeah.
And then give her some lunch. Thank you.
Hey, come back.
Alright, I've just been asked to go check on something. I will be back in a moment. Alright, sorry about that. Husband asking questions while he was in the hardware store, and he's probably still going to ask questions, so I'll see how it goes. Alright, let me get back to the questions. Alright. Who are your kind of people? You guys. No, is that sounds a bit kind of odd. My crafters, my people who are passionate about something. It doesn't even need to be my people, I guess. It's people who are passionate about something. I love seeing people light up when I ask them about something that is theirs. You know how when you talk to someone and they might be a bit kind of monotone and flat and, you know, meh. But when you get a person to talk about their passion, they light up, they get excited, the voice lifts, the eyes lift, the spirit lifts, and you can almost get that excitement from them, that contagious kind of thing, you know. They're my kind of people. People who have a passion. Where's the strangest place you've ever been? Actually, I do know where the strangest place I've ever been. The strangest place I've ever been, one of them. Okay, let's stick with this one. The strangest place I've ever been, and Rachel may have been there. It's Mizzen Head in Ireland. Mizzen Head is down in the bottom left-hand corner of Ireland. It's out in the toes of the teddy bear. Ireland being the teddy bear. And if you've never heard of that, well, there you go. Ireland is a teddy bear. So down on the toes, there's a place called Mizzen Head. It's on the west coast of Ireland, and there is a place where the rock... Okay, so picture this. You've probably all seen the rainbow cakes where they've got the, 7 or 8 thin layers of cake. And they've got the icing in between, and it looks like a rainbow because people have made it coloured and pretty and all that kind of... Okay. Take that cake, okay, and picture it. Take the cake and all their layers and smush it. And all the layers, crumple up, and they end up, like this kind of zigzaggy mess of a thing. Okay. Well, what's happened down in Mizzen Head is all these igneous rocks, I think it is. So the igneous are the ones that came from the tectonic plates shifting, and it basically got rock that was in lines, and it's basically gone whoosh, and it's created these ribbons of layers of rocks. It's incredible. The power of what the earth has done in this location, and it's mushed them. If I can, okay, I'll try and remember if I can put a stock photo in of Mizzen Head. I can't remember where my photos are of this. Probably on my ex's photo library, because he took a lot of the photos back then. So I probably don't have photos of this particular geological thing. It's just incredible. It really, really is. There are some really strange places here in Tasmania. There's tessellated pavement, it's called. It's basically this flat deck of rock, and there's the cracks. So the cracks kind of go in straight lines and, you know, drop down. The limestone area in the west of Ireland is incredible. So you've got the limestone rocks, and then you've got the gaps through there too. Again, Rachel has probably been there, around the Cliffs of Moher. Where else? I haven't actually been up to the Giant's Causeway, but the Giant's Causeway is quite incredible with its hexagonal basalt rock. Okay, I wasn't. Let me try and get my brain in gear here. My dad went back to university in his retirement and studied geology. Now, I learnt all my geology, I suppose, in secondary school from a teacher who was both an Irish teacher and a geography teacher, Mr. Huggins. He looked like, I think it's the character of Trebor. Bald, white hair, glasses. One of those kind of logos. Yeah, it reminded me of that. He was awesome. He was fun. He wasn't too up himself as a teacher. So yeah, he was a bit of fun. We used to have a bit of crack with him. So I actually enjoyed learning Irish and geography from him. That was Sophie sneezing outside. She's got the cutest sneeze. It's a bit like a cat sneeze. Have you heard a cat sneeze? They're so funny. Yeah, so geology interests me to the point where you kind of think this is a physical thing, but it looks like it's just been mushed into nothingness and, you know, melted, and it's just incredible the power of the earth in that kind of circumstance, you know. Auckland stinks. It's got the volcanoes. It's smelly, like rotten egg smelly, but yeah, it's pretty specky. What is the silliest fear you have? The silliest fear. I don't think fears should be treated as being silly for a start. So before I'm not going to necessarily, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that one. Anyway, fears should not be thought of as silly. If you've got a fear, it's probably there for a reason. It's not necessarily a good reason, but it's probably there for a reason. I think fears are learned, and a silly fear, I guess, is one that has you overreacting, like to the extreme overreacting, the irrational overreaction. So I guess I could use the example of my stepdaughter. Her fear of spiders is to the point of hysteria, and it's to the point of the spider will be, you know, across the room, and she will be hysterical. That, I think, is the silly part, and it's kind of like, no, it's over there, it can't touch you, it doesn't jump, and it's where that kind of sense. So her mother apparently is afraid of spiders, and she's learned this behavior from her. Me, on the other hand, I'll get the spider in a glass, and I'll put a piece of paper behind the glass, and I'll tip it up, and I'll look at it. Hence me knowing that our spiders over here called huntsmen have purple toes and furry feet. Because I've looked at them. Because I've looked at them through the glass, and then I've got the glass and I've hooshed them out the door. But it's trying to teach and not pass that on. I mean, I jump at spiders too, don't get me wrong. I had a spider on my steering wheel one day. It ran around the steering wheel and I'm going, ah! And I couldn't go anywhere. It was, you know, things that jump out at you. Yes, it's like you've got that initial fright, and it's like, ah, you know. And okay, that's not a silly fear. You know, we're meant to have the fears that we're born with are loud noises and fire. Anything else is a learned fear. So it's not necessarily silly. You might have had an incident that made you fearful of that thing, but it's not necessarily silly. So the reaction might be silly, but not necessarily the fear itself. So, what would be the best city to live in? The best city to live in. I don't know what that colour was. I could say where we currently are. Hobart is really cool. It is pretty good. We have a 15-minute drive into work, into the CBD, from where we live. You can live in a rural situation on 5 acres within 25 minutes of the city. In some cases, you can actually be within 15 minutes of the city in rural acreage. It's fairly cheap to live in. Yeah, it's pretty good. What the hell are you? I think flies are getting in because the doors aren't fully closed. Anyway, maybe it's just the place that you live in, where you call home. Yeah. What household chore is just the worst? My back would think vacuuming. It really does not like the leaning over with the vacuum with the stick and the hose. An upright vacuum I can deal with, but the vacuum, normal vacuuming, yeah, not so fun anymore. I hate cleaning, which is a real pain, because that means that the house isn't as clean as I would like it to be. I like it clean, but I don't like the actual method of cleaning. I hate the chemicals. I hate the chemical smell, but that doesn't mean to say it doesn't get done. But yeah, vacuuming, my body doesn't like it anymore. If you could give yourself a nickname, what nickname would you want people to call you? Well, I guess that's what I am now. It's Pippa. I have predominantly been known by a nickname rather than my real name. So, yeah. But Pippa it is now, and it will probably remain. And I like that. I kind of like having the slight alter ego of the nickname. Okay, what odd talent do I have? I don't know that I've got a talent. I feel like I don't have a talent. I can see solutions maybe in things that other people don't see. I have really high space reasoning for a girl. I think that's the engineering side of our genetics in the family. So I can see a 3D puzzle or see something in 2D and put it into 3D. Girls probably aren't necessarily going to get what I'm talking about. It's a bit tricky. My stepdaughter, for instance, came out yesterday with the drying rack and a soup ladle stuck in it, and she couldn't figure out how to get it out. And it's just like, what the hell? Why can't you, think and move things differently? And it's like, okay, it's not coming out this way, but twist it and it will move out. And there wasn't that kind of thinking. Whereas to me, that's very normal. I don't know if I'd call it a talent though. I can tie square knots. I learned how to tie a square knot when I was in Scouts. I probably can't remember now, but I used to be able to tie a square knot. If you could give everyone just one piece of advice, what would it be? No, if I could give myself one piece of advice, it would be lighten the fuck up. You uptight bitch. I'm way too harsh and critical of myself. And I really, really do need to lighten up on me and on other people. And it's unfortunately a learned behavior to deal with stress badly. I have really bad stress management skills, to the point where something happened and I was given a talking to, yeah, it was just, yeah, I need to learn to process stress better, healthier, and yeah, and that's so that I'm not punishing others and punishing myself. So that was the most recent kind of revelation. Not necessarily a nice thing to hear when you're 47 and you're kind of told you've got really shit coping skills. And I'm kind of going, but this has been taught to me how to do it for the last 23, 4, 5, whatever, 8 years. And this is all I now know to do. And if I had had the same encouragement back then, rather than the retraining, I probably wouldn't be in such a bad way now. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. All right. But if I had to give one piece of advice to other people, laugh more, believe in yourself, yeah, that kind of thing. What would you like to know more about but haven't had the time to look into it? Oh God. I don't know, I can't think. Conspiracy theories? I don't have the time to debunk conspiracy theories. I'd like to know more about. I could say the Bible, maybe. Jesus. I mean, it's there, but it's a different kind of culture, and it's a different kind of thing, and yeah. Languages would be cool too. I've got Pidgin French, and that's about it. And even then, it's been a long time since I've used it, so it's rusty as all hell. And there's nowhere to use it really here in Australia. What country do you never want to visit? Never. I think a country where women are mistreated. I would never want to visit there. because I would be too opinionated and probably get myself into trouble. Yeah. What wrong assumptions do people make about you? I don't know, I feel like I'm disliked a lot more than I might be. I had a scenario in work the other day. An email was sent around to everyone, and I responded with a joke, you know, a bit of a kind of, you know, funny. And the response I got was, can you please not do the stupid response on the emails, because it's cluttering up this person's inbox. Yet I feel that 2 emails later, somebody was making jokes at another email that was sent, and I was really tempted to say, did you get an email from this person saying stop telling jokes? You know, to know, is it just me or is it just them or what? So I really took offense and was hurt by the whole, you know, shut up and don't clutter my email kind of thing, and the general attitude, because it's, I don't know, you think you know better than me, or you've been here longer than me and you know otherwise, or, you know, I don't like being belittled, and I felt like I was being belittled by this person. So I hurt easily. Maybe that's what they don't know about me. They assume that I'm rude because I don't share my life with people that I don't think give a shit. I'm not open with people that I don't trust, which is ironic really when I'm talking on YouTube to people that I actually don't know. But do you understand? Okay, so back in 2011, 2012, my marriage was getting really rocky. It was to the point where I was starting to develop depression, and bad habits really got stuck in, and I ended up with major depression. What I didn't do is I didn't go and talk to my colleagues. I didn't share that my marriage was in the shitter. I didn't share that I was so stressed. I probably lashed out at people. Sorry, I'm looking for a symbol if my voice is kind of dropped off and I'm struggling to see it. Or have I already got it? No, I haven't got it. Oh, where are you? There it is. Oh, I used it and put it back. That was silly. Alright. So yeah, I shut down. When I get depressed, I shut down. I will not say I'm struggling. I will not share, because to me it's almost like it makes me vulnerable, and when I've been vulnerable before, I've been betrayed. So maybe that's what the issue. I'm not going to be betrayed. And when you're dealing with the kind of hierarchy we have, it's very hard to trust your boss's the best interests for you or the best interests for the department. And it's very hard to say, look, I'm struggling with this, and then not to be backstabbed. And, you know, does that make sense? So, yeah, I don't do the vulnerable with people who can hurt me because I've been hurt before. And, yeah, I'm just not going to give you the power. So, I'm going to seem like I'm quite standoffish. I'm going to... And I hate petty conversation. I hate conversation that just goes nowhere, or it's about, you know, I don't know, fashion and clothes shopping. Yeah, oh, sorry. Maybe I'm too much of a boy in that. Sorry, my husband's messaging again. Okay. Let me pause again, and I just need to go and do a nice thing for hubby. Hold on. Alright, I'm back. Beer is now in the fridge when he gets back. Here it is. You know, the whole put all the colours out and then you find another one again. There's a couple of holes in these drills, I'm noticing. I think it's in this colour that no, not this colour, it was one of the pinks that I was putting down. There's a couple of holes here and here, but that's okay. I'm not overly fussed. A little bit of concaving in some of these as well, so I'm going to be wary of those ones. I won't put those concaves down because they've got nothing to stick, even though Evermoments are really normally quite a good drill because they don't have the tabs, but concaves don't have anything to stick to really except just the edges. So just please be wary of that one. Alright, moving on. Back to the questions. Let me grab that. Oops, what is that? Okay. Do you prefer to work in a team or alone? I probably prefer to work alone. I like having the interaction of the team. I like having people around me, but I probably am less of a... I can work in a team, but I'm probably less of a team player because I see other ways of doing things, and it... Yeah, yeah, I prefer working alone. Let's just move on. What has been the best period of your life so far? I think that would have to be my husband. Knowing him has been life-changing for me. And that it would be my current husband, not my previous husband. My 4 kids to my previous husband, yeah, they were great, but they have hurt me in ways that they will never imagine, I don't think. And I don't know if we can get back what we ever had. And I don't know if COVID is enough to do that. I did read this morning that there's people being in touch with people who would never dream of being in touch with them, except that this is now here. I don't even know if that's going to be enough for my son. So, my current husband has been amazing. He has not just tried to... he hasn't tried to change me. He hasn't tried to... He's tried to bring out the best in me. He's tried to see... Oops, I didn't want to put that there because that is more later. He's tried to see the gold and he's tried to pull it out, if that makes sense. He isn't trying to put me down in the constructive criticism. He is trying to build me up. And while there's a certain amount of nervousness in fully trusting him that he's got my best interests at heart, so there's a little bit of resistance. I'm beginning to learn that it's not the same way that my ex operated. He would say he had my best interests, but then he would turn around and undermine it later. So I'm very wary from that point of view. I'm not sure I'm finished with that one. I'll put it that way. Now, an arrow. I didn't see the arrow. There's just the one in the corner. Alright. Have you changed from when you were in high school? Yes. I'm older, bitter, wiser. I don't know. Of course I have. I was such a child in high school. I was such a child when I got married, and I was only starting to grow up when I had kids. And even that was not necessarily in the best way that it could have been. So yes, I am very different from how I was in high school. I'm probably more cynical and less carefree. I am a bit more emotionally scarred than I would like from high school. Yeah. How techie are you? Well, if you ask anyone in YouTube or Facebook in my crafty groups, they would probably say I'm very techie. Yeah, I use tech. And I have a husband who is a computer coder. He has coded from the age of 10, I think. He wrote programs when he was that young. No? Close it? So yes, I'm techie. I love to be able to see tech improve lives, and it's almost like a Star Trek dream, you know, where Star Trek had tablets and Star Trek had these, you know, clear visuals and things like that. I can see it all happening. It will happen. Yeah. I love tech. Doesn't mean I understand all of it, and that, but I do love tech, and when it makes us better than what we are, because the computer might be faster and do better calculations and help us, yeah, I think that's just amazing. So very much not an early adopter, but I am an adopter of tech. And that's not to say I don't make mistakes either. But I was always the one who figured out the remote controls. I was always the one who figured out, you know, the stereo and all of that kind of stuff. So yes, always been techie, and it hasn't really stopped. And to the point where I've got kids who I'm teaching because they aren't techie, I guess. Yeah. Where is the most fun place around where you live? Well, what do you call fun? We've got a tree up in the national park, up on the mountain, Mount Wellington National Park. We've got a tree called the octopus tree. It's damp, it's wet, it's soggy, it's mossy, and it's fun. Is it the longest slippery slide down in Sandy Bay? Is it the park that we can go to in Lindisfarne that you've got this high aerial rope laddery kind of monstrosity that kids can climb up? What's fun? Is it down on the waterfront? Is it the river that we live along? I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird question. Fun, I suppose, is what you make it. It's the beaches. It's we have an awesome lifestyle. We can have an awesome lifestyle here. It doesn't mean I use it anymore, but we can and do have an awesome lifestyle. And there is a lot to do that you can absolutely make fun. We don't have amusement parks or anything like that. They're all up on the mainland. And even then, there's not many. There's a couple over in the Gold Coast, I think. Have you ever joined any meetup groups? Please explain. What's a meetup group? Are you talking about like dating, or are you talking about hobby groups? I actually don't understand that question. I have joined, and I talked about this in my last WiPnChat about the geocaching. We had meetups in that, but it wasn't specifically to meet up. You know, that's what I didn't join geocaching to be a meetup group. I I have found, Rachel put me in touch with a Sarah who, sorry, Sarah in Stitches. Can't recall. Sorry, apologies, Sarah, because I've only watched 2 of her new videos and she's deleted all her old ones, so I can't really explore that too much. And Sophie is crying. That's not good. Big sister is on patrol, so big sister can deal for a couple of minutes. She might come in for a hug though. That's Sophie. So I did watch Sarah and I did send her a message in the hope that maybe we can meet. But no, I didn't join YouTube to meet up specifically. I did join a dating app to meet my husband. But again, it's not really a meet-up group. So yeah. I get very nervous when it comes to meeting people that you only know online.
Look.
What?
Look.
You want Octonauts. Right. Her words are getting better. They don't necessarily mean what she says, but they're getting better. See how we're doing for sound when it gets going. Alright, there we go. Sophie, go sit down. Where would your friends or family be most surprised to find you? On stage, I think. On stage. Maybe even on YouTube. Yeah, I think some of the family has expressed surprise that I'm on YouTube. So yeah, that would not be something that I would be assumed I would ever do. So yeah, YouTube. What's the most relaxing situation you could imagine? The most relaxing situation I would imagine would be a real life Chuck Pinson painting. The log cabin, the nearby stream, waterfall, or active running water, not still water, running water. Yeah, a Chuck Pinson painting. And I think there's a few of you in the diamond painting community would know exactly what I mean by that. I think Stephanie in Patriotic Beauty, Redneck Beauty, she and I are going to fight over one of Chuck's paintings, the home there. When I was newlywed in Ireland, there was a friend of ours who made the log cabins from Finland, and I have always had a dream for a log cabin, as in a home that I could have. There is a home in a little road down, about a half an hour drive from me. It's in a little dogleg. It's set down in the trees in this little clearing. It's a beautiful house. It's got a stream nearby, and that would be my dream kind of home. Yeah, that would be the most relaxing. The only thing I would want is sunlight to also get in there, and because of where it is, you can't get the sunlight. You can't. Yeah, just doesn't seem to have the two. I'm gonna bet I'm gonna need that little Christmas tree again in a second. Alright, let's see. What is the most beautiful view you've seen? It's pretty specky looking at the view out of a plane, regardless I think of where you are. I think it's pretty special. I love flying over Tasmania and seeing the familiar spots of home. I have had a flight over my city. We are lucky because we have a mountain in our city. We can actually drive up the mountain and you can look down on the city, and it's just stunning. My view from my old home, I used to love. It was no buildings. It was in 5 acres. It was 25 minutes from the city. I lived in the bush, or well, it wasn't the bush, but anyway, I was on a slight hill, and I used to love sitting out on the deck. Here it's more suburbia. There's buildings everywhere, but you know, certain views, you've got the water. I'd like a few less buildings maybe, but you know, with the less buildings means more of a drive, you know, different kind of commitments, that kind of thing. So yeah, green hills, rolling fields, waterfalls, those kind of things, they would be what I love. They would be my soul restorer views, soaking in country views, I think. Love Wicklow. Love the Wicklow Mountains, the rolling hills there. Yeah, just gorgeous. And Wales, Cal, I love hearing your accent, but I love Wales. It's green, it's lush, it's hilly, it's just incredible. Yeah, it's just beautiful. What's expensive but totally worth it? Diamond Art Club. No. Time is expensive and time is totally worth it. You sacrifice time to be with other people or do things, and the return that you get when you do something like that is immeasurable. Time is expensive but totally worth it. When do you feel most out of place? Learning something new, meeting new people. Doesn't mean I won't do it, but it doesn't mean I don't feel out of place. Certainly talking at major gatherings, I kind of feel like I should be taking a back seat, that, you know, I shouldn't be hosting or making a speech kind of thing, but yeah, that's down to a self-worth thing though. Anyway, what's the most recent thing you've done for the first time? Gosh. Well, back in 2008, I got a motorbike, and I rode a motorbike for the first time. That might be about it. Riding a motorbike. How did you come to love one of your favorite musicians? How did you come to love one of your favorite musicians? I listen to their music. I haven't been to many concerts. I think I just listen to the music. I listen to the words of the songs. Does that make sense? I look for the story in the song. If that, you know, I listen to the words. Does it paint a picture for me? And if it does, then, you know, you're probably going to be somebody that I like listening to. How did you meet your best friend? Well, again, that probably comes down to my husband. I don't have a best female friend. I never really did. I mean, had one as a teenager, but moved house and that didn't last, and never felt like I had somebody who had my back, so, and would contact me, although now I do. I've got somebody in Queensland who gets in touch with me on a really regular basis, and I love it to bits. You know, okay, we haven't necessarily shared all our lives or anything like that. It's been very much online, but yeah, I love that connection. And you know who you are. What small, seemingly insignificant decision had a massive impact on your life? Jeez. I went on a boat ride with friends, and I met my first husband on that, and I moved to Australia as a result. I think that's a pretty... It was on my birthday. I should have been at home with family, and I ditched them and I went out on the boat instead. And I ended up moving to Australia, and I would never, ever, ever, ever in my lifetime have thought that that was something that was going to happen to me, and me to make Australia home. And it has made so many changes that I can't even begin to say what that one day trip did. Not even day trip, couple of hours on a boat did for the path that my life took. Where would you move if you could move anywhere in the world and still find a job and maintain a reasonable standard of living? Down the road. I have a great job. I have a lifestyle in Tasmania that I don't think I could have in many other states. I would just prefer to be in a different home, building. If that was even in the same street, that would be probably okay. I like the suburb to a certain degree, but the actual building has some issues. So I think I'd probably just be moving within a 30-minute radius of here. Would you like to be famous? I would like to be famous. No, I probably wouldn't like to be famous. I wouldn't like people examining my life and putting my faults in the media like they do with famous people. Would I like to have more people watching me on YouTube? Yes. Would I want to be famous for it? Ooh, that's a different kettle of fish. Would I like to be accepted for who I am? Sure. Would I like not to have people coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, we know her and she's a lying bitch? No, wouldn't like that. Would hope that it wouldn't happen anyway. Would hope that it couldn't happen. Would hope that I have had that integrity through my life. Oh, can you clean her face, please, and open her towelette? What did you do last summer? I know what you did last summer. No. What did I do last summer? Last summer was 2 months ago. I worked. Cold tea. Yay. What did I do last summer? I didn't take any leave, I don't think. I worked over the Christmas period. I don't get time off when people have time off. I have got leave coming up in May, if I'm allowed to take it, because they might have cancelled leave by then because they're going to be short-staffed. I don't know, but I sure as hell need the break. Alright. If you lived to 100, would you rather keep the body or the mind of yourself at 30 until you were 100? The way my body's feeling right now, I think I'd prefer to keep the body of a 30-year-old. The mind. The mind of a 30-year-old. What was I like when I was 30? I had kids who were young. I was frazzled when I was 30. Far out. No, I don't think I'd like to have the mind of a 30-year-old. God. I think I was so burnt out parenting. I think the body. I'm finding in my old age and my dotage. No. I'm finding that my body is failing and letting me down, though. I'm stiff and I'm sore, and you know, the muscles aren't recovering the way they should be freaking recovering. I can't sit at my work seat for any length of time without hurting like hell. And even now, I'm sitting here and I'm going, yeah, I'm hurting. I need to move positions. I need to get, you know, something changing again. You know, that kind of thing. So I didn't have those kind of physical pains in my 30s. So yeah, maybe the body. And I'm, let's be candid here, I'm 90 kilos. I'm not small, skinny, waif-like. I was skinny as a teenager. And then I had kids, and I was not skinny, you know, but I wasn't, you know, hugely obese. Now I'm in the obese category. But I still think that I probably thought I was fat when I wasn't fat. So from that point of view, I, yeah, wouldn't, yeah, the body of a 30-year-old and the mindset that I appreciate and got wiser maybe with it. Before you make a call, do you rehearse what you're going to say? Sort of, to a point. I might have bullet points of what I want to discuss. My dad used to, I don't know if he had a laugh at me or he was just critical of me. I'd ring up with the point that I needed to make, and it was kind of like, hi, can we get to the point, and, you know, what's the colour of the you know, the blackboard? Kind of, you know, and I'd kind of skip the whole niceties and the whole, yeah, hi, how's it going? And because I think I'm going to forget what I'm ringing to ask for. So, yeah, I might have bullet points. But no, it depends on what the call might be about. If it's something that I've got to, hey, I need to talk with you, we have something serious to say, then yes, I might rehearse the call. But ordinarily, bullet points. What am I most grateful for? He's in the other room, I think. He's just come back, and I'm not sure if he's in the kitchen or if he's gone out into the deck. I am most grateful for my husband, and we had a conversation 2 days ago that if he was to get COVID and he thinks, you know, he's not going to survive it because of life and everything else, and I said, okay, well, let's have the hard conversation. Do you want a DNR? I'm so grateful that we can have those conversations, and we can discuss those things that I really don't want to discuss, and he accepts my no for no and things like that. I'm so immensely grateful for that man, and I wish to hell we had met a lifetime sooner. And we've both said the same thing to each other, to be honest. Yeah. What's the most essential part of a friendship? Honesty. Honesty in the good and in the bad. In the hurt and in the joy and everything like that. When it was the last time you sang to yourself or to someone else? The last time I sang was in the car. When I get to drive myself anywhere, I tend to play my Christian music, and when I play my Christian music, I will sing. I will play my Christian music at home if I'm having a particularly bad day. I think my husband has learned that that's a bit of a trigger to me, kind of not coping. I'll put the Christian music on at home. But yeah, I will play the Christian music in the car, and I will sing in the car. And no, I don't close my eyes when I drive. If you were new, if you knew you were going to die in a year, what would you change about how you live? If anybody answers that question and you're not doing what you would do in the answer, you're living wrong. Let me quantify that answer. If what you're doing right now makes you miserable and you would want to change it, change what you're doing now. Does that make sense? So if I was going to die in a year, I would probably take off work and watch that crazy blonde grow up and cherish every single moment she gives me. She really makes me focus on the present as much as she drives me scatty. We're currently battling with bedtime, and she is refusing to be put to bed and stay in bed. So to a point we've given up, and instead I will watch her mood and I will go, okay, we're going to put Bluey on for 5 minutes. We put Bluey on for 5 minutes last night. Bluey's episodes are little cartoon episodes, cartoon dog. And Bluey's episodes are actually 7 minutes in duration for each episode. And we watched Bluey last night, and then my brother phoned, and for a couple of minutes she wanted to pull the phone and, you know, say, ooh, look, that's me, and, you know, jabber away to my brother. But then she settled down and she fell asleep in my lap. And I stroked her back. Having those kind of moments, I think, are so precious, and it's not just being an older mum that makes me not take them for granted, because I didn't take them for granted with my youngest, who is now 19. I thought she was going to be my last, and I cherished those moments with her too. My son is 21 today. Excuse me, I'm going to have to blow my nose. My son is 21 today, and he is, he's not my clingy child. He is my, how would I describe it? There's no neat word to, yeah, excuse me. He sits close to me, so if I'm here, his knee will be touching me. What? I'm not talking about you.
If you're here, I'm here.
No. He would be constantly touching me. It might be his knee or his leg. There's this physical closeness that I remember having with him when, you know, we'd sit down and we'd watch TV and that kind of thing. He'd be playing a game, I'd be doing something else, but there was this physicality between us. So I don't take those moments for granted. I will, you know, take the time to listen to what my kids enjoy. That kind of thing. I love seeing what makes them tick and bringing out their passion. And I hate that I don't see it in them more often these days. When was the last time you walked for more than an hour? That's mean. Yeah, way too long ago. Way too long ago. And actually what they've done with this whole COVID thing is they're not letting people walk in the national parks. They've shut down the national parks, not just for walking but for camping, or sorry, not just for camping but for walking. That's annoyed some people because they're kind of going, but nature and everything else and mental health, and that's really good for us, but they've shut it down. there are campgrounds. You can camp at Mountfield. They've shut the national parks. So, yeah, that's, so last time I went for an hour walk. Ooh, yeah. It's been a while. Let's just leave it at that. What did you do for your last holiday, or what will you do for your next closest holiday? Last holiday, well, what's holiday? Is it time off work?
Speaking of which, we need to make a booking for TT line, if it's still possible.
I am not willing to put my money in that yet.
While the prices are still low.
I mean, I had leave at Christmas time. I had a couple of days off, but yeah, I didn't do anything. So leave is different from a holiday. The last time I went away, well, I went to Ireland in 2014, and Paris, and yeah. Best and worst flavor ice cream. What would make an excellent new ice cream flavor? Best and worst flavor ice cream. Okay, the best ice cream I've ever had. My most favorite in the world is Häagen-Dazs. It was in Ireland. It was called Chocolate Midnight Cookies. It was a chocolate ice cream, and I think it had brownie chunks, but it had a chocolate syrup ripple, and then they stopped doing it. Loved it. Absolutely adored it. If I could get that again, I would be there in a heartbeat. I'm usually pretty reluctant to try new ice cream flavors. They've got things like boysenberry here, which boysenberries are like large Logan berries, which are kind of like raspberries, and they've got this kind of syrupy, fruity swirl through a vanilla ice cream. They're not bad. But I'm a bit reluctant to try new flavors, so I don't try the peanut butter kind of ice creams. Chili bacon, my husband said. Chili bacon. Well, worst flavored ice cream. The worst... what would be a worst ice cream? Licorice would be the worst I could ever get, if that's even a thing. Yeah. Chocolate that doesn't melt in the mouth. Chocolate that stays too hard, too cold. Yeah, not into that kind of thing. Overly nutty. I don't suppose it's the worst. It's just not necessarily the ice cream I would choose. Some of the honeycombs, too sweet. That kind of thing. Who's my favourite actor or actress? Gosh. Who do I love? I love Chris Hemsworth. He's fun. Now Americans might have a different take on this one. I really like Robert Downey Jr. I think he comes across as cheeky and sassy and fun, and I don't know if that's an arrogance that's Robert's or Bob's or whatever you want to call him, or it's the character he plays. Maybe it's a bit same old, same old. Who is the most diverse actor? Matthew McConaughey's really good. I'm looking on the TV here, and Daniel Radcliffe is there. He's a funny one. I watched him in Harry Potter. You start seeing him as a kid. He's really, really good. He is really becoming quite a versatile young actor. He doesn't necessarily do the stereotypical roles. Matthew McConaughey doesn't necessarily do the stereotypical roles. He's
I think he's trying to break out in Harry Potter mold.
Yeah, but he's doing a fairly good job. Like, he did that really weird movie where he was on the beach, was it shipwrecked? Ugh, that was creepy. That was really creepy. David Tennant. Oh, alright, I love David Tennant when he plays a fun character. I watched him in Deadwater Fell, which was a TV series about basically it was domestic violence abuser, and he was a doctor. Far out, he was creepy as all hell. If I had watched him on that and not known any of his other stuff, I'd never want to watch him again. He freaked me out in how good he played that role. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Favorite actress? Meryl Streep is pretty damn good. I mean, Devil Wears Prada, that was pretty cool. She doesn't tend to lose herself too much. Helen Mirren's pretty good. I'm trying to think. Emma Thompson has been praised for doing some, the diverse characters from Hermione to other kind of acting. Rebel Wilson, she's feisty as all hell. She's quite fun. She's brash. She's fun, but she's very much Rebel, I think, in character. So I don't know if that means that she's a good actress or it's just, stereotyping again, which is not necessarily good for Rebel, but good for the movies that she's in. Yeah, that's a couple. All modesty aside, what are you better at than 90% of people? It doesn't have to be for useful or serious. It can be something ridiculous.
Sitting with my
brain. What am I better at than other people?
Hamburgers.
My husband says hamburgers. No, I'm a cook. I am not a chef. Thinking outside the square. Thinking outside the square.
Oh.
My peanut gallery is back. You might have noticed how quiet it was for the first half of this.
You're loving your husband went out and got something.
I know, he went out and got screwed.
Have you told everybody?
That you got screwed?
I got screwed, yeah.
He got boxes of screws to put in with the shade sails that we've been putting up this morning.
For you.
For me. He's trying to do it to give me a somewhere outside that I can sit, because in this blazing Australian sun I burn to a crisp. Because I'm Irish. And Sophie's blonde, so she's going to get burnt to a crisp too. The other two, they're olive, aboriginal, and they're going to be able to take as much sun as they can take. It's disgusting. I hate it. And so can he. It's just rude. Anyway. I have a really, really weird sense of humour. Like warped. To the point where people go, that's just too much. Yeah. And I probably...
Really?
Yeah. And I probably voice it maybe too much.
When are you going to bring that out?
My husband's going to get something thrown at him in a minute. Alright. What's the strangest phone conversation you've ever had? Oh, gee. That was probably when I was working in the call centre at Vodafone, and I can't actually remember, but I have had some strange conversations. No, I've had some pretty cool conversations when I was working in Cable Link in Ireland too, with customers, and I can do a problem diagnosis over the phone. Yeah. Strangest conversation, Joe, that would have to be when I worked as a dispatch. And yeah, we got some weird phone calls doing that too. Like, seriously wacky, and you're kind of picking up the phone going, is this for real? And yeah. Stories for another time. Okay. How much personal space do you need to be comfortable?
Oh dear.
It depends on what's going on around me. I sit on the chair on the couch with my husband with my feet curled, so I'm sitting like the Little Mermaid. Okay, you with me? Legs. Right. So shut up. I don't have a tail.
Little mermaid had a tail, doesn't she?
Yes. Okay, so I sit with my feet up and my feet are tucked under his knee. I do what my son does with the whole physical contact. So personal space is a bit, depending on who the hell you are. I don't like people shoulder to shoulder with me if I don't know them. And Sophie's just gone outside. She's got these little deck chairs out on the deck, and she sits in them. It's all kinds of cute. Anyway, all right. How much personal space do I need to be comfortable? I like my armchairs to be large. If I'm in a crowd, personal space changes the scenario. And it depends on the person. If I'm with people I love and trust, shoulder to shoulder is fine. If I'm with people I don't trust, it's like, get the hell away from me, and it's, you know, put me in the you know, in the wilderness. I would like a bigger house to be comfortable. I would... It doesn't need to be as big as my previous house, but it needs to be bigger. I don't know, it's a movable feast. Let's just say it's a movable feast. What's the most interesting fact you know? I'm doing Factoid Friday, Frivolous Fridays, on YouTube, on my channel, if you want to go and check that out. They are weird facts. They haven't really been silly facts. I have come across silly facts. I actually found this many years ago, weird beard facts, I think it was, and where it was against the law to have a beard, you know, in a certain town in America, and all these kind of weird stuff like that. I keep useless information like that in my head. I wish I knew why. But what's the most interesting fact? I don't know. So yeah, tune into Factoid Frivolous Fridays for other interesting facts. What fad or trend have you never been able to understand? Well, that's interesting, because I thought that was one of the questions way up the top that I didn't answer earlier. Fad that I didn't understand. Mullets. I do not understand the mullet. I do not understand the rat's tail in hair. I just want to get a scissors and cut the damn thing off. It's like, what the hell are you thinking? And even this is to mothers and fathers, because the kids, what the hell do they know? Rat's tails and mullets. What the hell? Who's your favorite character from a TV show, movie, or book? Okay. Favorite TV character from a movie. Robert Downey Jr. as I was going to say Sherlock. He was pretty good as Sherlock. Benedict Cumberbatch is pretty good as Sherlock. TV show. I've gone a blank. Who do I like that makes me laugh and smile on TV? I really love Tom Ellis in Lucifer. So Satan in Lucifer cracked me up so much. It was so irreverent but so true, and and yeah, it was really cleverly written. I really enjoyed Lucifer. Okay. And favorite character in a book? That would probably have to be Ayla from Clan of the Cave Bear series. You grew up with Ayla from a very young baby to a late 20s, early 30s maybe, grown woman. So you got to see her grow up. I loved that series, and it took Jean Auel 20 years to write the final bloody book. There was some editing I would do with a couple of her books. There was a bit of repetition, but I loved those books. Loved the character of Ayla. What TV shows did you watch when you were a kid? I watched a show in Ireland that I absolutely hate, Bosco. It was a little puppet with squeaky ass voice, quite similar to Elmo, and I would quite happily strangle the stupid thing. I watched MacGyver as a kid, the old MacGyver. I watched Star Trek as a kid, the original. I watched the Banana Bunch on Saturday mornings, and I watched the Pink Panther on Saturday mornings. There you go, Saturday morning Superstore, Saturday morning Superstore with Noel Edmonds. If any of you are English and you remember him. What do you like but are kind of embarrassed to admit? What I like but I'm kind of embarrassed to admit. Don't know. No, pass. Maybe some other time. What's your favourite smell? Cut grass is probably up there. The sea is a bit smelly. It's not necessarily a refreshing smell, but cut grass in a spring day, that damp, grassy smell, yeah, that's pretty good. Are you supposed to be inside, Sophie? I don't know. Probably in the bathroom. I'm busy, so you'll have to look for it yourself. What skill or ability have you always wanted to learn? Horse riding, I think, would be up there. Playing the piano. I would love to be able to play the piano. Yeah, playing the piano. Or guitar. I can't play the guitar because my nails are too long now. And I don't think I've got the fingers. My fingers don't move in quite the right direction to be able to play guitar properly. But piano. What's the best meal you've ever had? Best meal. My husband does some pretty mean chips. This is going to work the way I wanted it to. There should have been a bigger gap in between them. Chips, steak, garlic mushrooms. There's a restaurant in the city in Salamanca that's pretty damn good as a steak house. Ball and Chain restaurant. There's some, yeah, you get a really good steak. It's so tender, it's like melt in the mouth. That's pretty good. Their chips were not that brilliant though. They used to serve it with a roast potato, and that kind of let down the whole steak kind of thing. And you could get weird salads. But the steak was the business. Where was your favourite place to go when you were a kid? Maybe for walks. Dad used to go and visit his brother. No, his sister, sorry, his sister. Mum and Dad would go and, you know, visit the cousins. Or I would visit the cousins. And I always used to hate going, but then when it was time to leave, hate leaving. You know, that kind of thing. So yeah, I used to enjoy playing with the cousins when I was growing up. But yeah, going for walks, I think, in the woods in Ireland. Yeah, pretty good. What's the most amount of people you've had to present something in front of? Ooh. Dinner, I guess. 50 or so people. No. I've probably had to do something in church. So that would have been a couple of hundred people. I do public speaking on a very regular basis at work. Yeah, so that would be, I don't know, a couple of hundred people in the back of the room for that kind of thing. Yeah. Turn that. Alright. If you could go back in time as an observer, no one could see you and you couldn't interact with anyone, when would you go back to? If I couldn't be seen or heard. Possibly to when Jesus was around. That would be a very, very big culture shock though. I don't know. Recent history, historic events are mostly captured on TV, so you could go back there technically and see them anyway. I'd like to do the Doctor Who thing. I'd like to be a fly on the wall watching something like Creation and wondering why something is done. Yeah. What says the most about a person? What says the most about their person? To some extent I might say their actions, but I think their thoughts says more. It's just something that we can't necessarily see. How they feel about themselves says the most about a person, I think. What machine or appliance in your house aggravates you the most? My husband just walked in and is sniggering to the side. Computers. Now, what aggravates me the most? What appliance do I really go off at?
All the computers.
The fact that I don't understand them is probably the problem. The computers, if you didn't hear that word.
The problem being, you say, that if I get hit by a bus, you wouldn't know how to operate the lights.
Yes. But when technology works, technology is awesome.
Well, yeah, okay,
Yeah. What appliance in my house aggravates me the most? I think we've got rid of them because they probably aggravated us. We've got an appliance that's actually pretty good. Because the other one might have aggravated us. What drives me nutty though? I don't know. No, I seriously think we've got rid of the appliances that aggravate me. So that's probably a good thing. What places have you visited that exceeded your expectations, Hobart? I came here in 2000 and did not think I would find home here. Yeah. If you opened a business, what type of business would you start? I have thought about this actually, and I don't have the background in the psychology behind it, but I would love to start a business where people could come for therapy and smash things, and then with the items that they smash, create something new, whether that's you know, lobbing it into plaster, or turning it into fragmented glass, into a lamp. That would be it. So you get to destroy, you get to vent your anger, and out of that anger, the grief, the hurt, you get to create something that you go, you know what, that was that period of time, and this has created something beautiful out of it. That would be what I would really, really love to do. I have heard of some people who have since done something similar with the whole, here's a workshop, you can go and smash up a car, or, you know, here's a sledgehammer, here's your goggles, have at it. I have heard of places that have since done that, and my husband, God bless his socks, I told him I couldn't throw for shit. He told me one night, I was particularly angry at something I think my ex had done, and he took me outside and he said, here's a couple of bottles, here's a wall, go smash the bottles against the wall and then clean it up. And yeah, I felt like I couldn't do it because I can't throw for shit. I said, if I throw this, I'm going to hit something I don't intend to. I didn't feel like I actually had the space, and when I first threw this, I missed the wall. Yeah, it was that bad. So I'd need to be somewhere where it's reasonably accurate. Like having a piñata and, yeah, that kind of vent. Yeah. But be able to create something from that destruction, I think that's the butterfly moment, from the caterpillar through the lava, through larva even, through to something precious, being the butterfly. Gosh, that's almost an answer to if I only had a year to live, would I do this? I don't know how I set this place up. Anyway. What's the worst movie you've ever seen? Oh god, I probably haven't kept watching it. Shaun of the Dead was pretty bad. It was funny though. Simon Pegg, English Apocalypse, Zombie Apocalypse even. Yeah. No, I probably haven't watched a really bad movie. I've probably stopped it and gone, nah, this is rubbish. Yeah. What's the best road trip you've been on? I don't think I've been on it yet. I have driven across the Nullarbor, so anyone in Australia who's watching this, you will know the Nullarbor. It is the road from east to west on the bottom half of Australia, bottom of Australia. It's basically the link from Perth over in WA to Adelaide, South Australia. So it runs along the bottom of the country. So it's wild, it's vast openness, it's flat as a tack, it's sandy, there are no trees, it's a road that just goes forever as well. Yeah, best road trip? No, best road trip still hasn't happened. I want to travel across the US, and with the whole changing of the guard with COVID, the world is changing. I don't know what it's going to bring. I don't know if I'm ever going to have that opportunity to motorbike, for instance, Route 66. That would be a kind of dream, to travel the world with a motorbike. Maybe someday. If I found a briefcase filled with 1 million in $100 bills in front of your door, what would you do with it? Give it to my husband. If I found $1 million with $100 bills in it at the front of my door, somebody has put $1 million on my doorstep. That's a bit different than just finding it randomly.
No, I've got a better idea. If I weren't the husband, you'd say, give your husband $10,000 and say, look, we're rich.
Okay. Right. Okay, if somebody has put $1 million on the front of my door, well, I can't lodge it in the bank because it's $100 bills. Would that draw attention? I don't know. I don't use cash. I'd go out and buy a motorbike. I don't know. I'd go and buy a house. But again, it's like, it's cash. Nobody uses cash these days. $100 bills over here, they're the only things that you can get from, you can only get them, from a bank or from a drug dealer. So my husband says, yes. So my husband says. He's not a drug dealer. Yes, he knows everything. He's always right. It's that kind of scenario. Oh god. That sounds a bit scary. You're getting Carmen to put the bench together? Yeah. Up here? Oh god. Why not up here? They're pretty easy. I put them together in 3 houses back. Oh god. Oh dear. She's been given a tool. She's a weapon at the moment. Alright. That's the 10-year-old is putting together a garden bench seat. Okay. With an impact driver. And my husband's having beer, so he's supervising. Lordy. I'll put him sitting on it first, so if it breaks, it's under him. Oh god.
These new clean ones are for you.
Alright. What's the worst advice someone has given you?
Watch out for drop bears.
Don't do it. It'll get better. Well, no, maybe that's not that bad advice. I don't know. Pass. Besides your home and your work, where do you spend most of your time? Going there and back? That's it. Yeah. I'm a homebody these days, and I like it. What are my 3 top favorite things to talk about? Food. How many whip and chats? How many talks have I done on YouTube and I talk about food? I'm obsessed. It's quite scary, really, how often I talk about food. I think it's probably because boarding school had me hungry and starving, actually, and I didn't have it. Yes, food. Pets would be another thing, and children. Top 3 favourite things to talk about. What do I care least about? Selfish people. Actually, that could be quite wrong, because I get quite passionate about selfish people who fuck people over. That's a whole different lesson there. Yeah. I care least about people who abuse people psychologically. I hate people who will damage their children to scorn somebody else. The other parent, for instance. I hate people who manipulate other people. Now, where would you like to retire? A Chuck Pinson painting. A Chuck Pinson inspired home. Stephanie and me, we're going to move in and have a log cabin together. Yeah, a Chuck Pinson home. Alright, now I have been talking your ear off. I had a couple of breaks, and yes, okay, I'm going to leave you go. I'm halfway through. I'm not even halfway through this. I've got ages to go on this. I could keep talking to you. I have got another 100 more questions, I think, on this on the questionnaire. It'll be next week. Look, I hope you have enjoyed me talking your ear off yet again. I probably talked about COVID a little bit more than I maybe wanted to. But it's kind of where we're all at the moment to a certain extent, and it's, you know, we can't always avoid it. Please, if you have got this far, please let me know if you are interested in having the COVID talk. Let's call it that, the COVID talk. If you're interested in having the COVID talk and talking about how you're coping or you're not coping, what you need if you're in isolation, what you have if you're in isolation that you have too much of, what you can share, thoughts, feelings, all of that kind of thing. If you want to air those kind of things, and a premiere or a live will do that. I'm not going to be talking COVID facts necessarily, at least not to profess that I'm a fact keeper or anything like that. I'm not going to be telling you how to treat it. I'm not going to be telling you numbers unless I'm searching on the internet, but I'm not going to be giving you home remedies or anything else. I'm just talking about from what I've seen, and I'm talking about, I guess, what your experiences are with this. So it's not going to be somewhere for anything other than an ear to listen to, and a place to share experiences, good, bad and ugly. So if you are interested in that, please let me know. Please pop a comment down the bottom and I will work on doing that. This COVID thing, look, Donald Trump might think this is a short-term thing. It's not. It's here for quite a while. And I have got at least 2 weeks where I can get this together and we do the COVID talk. And if it's something that is a hit, we will do it more often. You will have the safe place to air your fears and have your fears not met, but listened to. Not just by me. It could be a thing that I will do this on StreamYard and I will invite you in to have a physical chat. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. This could be a thing. My husband just trying to show me something.
I've just received an important email from my aging father.
Oh God.
After me telling him the price of 5 litres of the isopropyl alcohol, he said, "You reckon that's good?"
Oh, somebody is selling toilet roll, 1 roll of 2-ply toilet paper, that's not enough to wipe your butt, for $500 and $9 postage. This is a stupid time. My husband was saying he was buying isopropyl alcohol, and and he was going to make hand sanitizer. He bought it for, I don't know, 15-20 bucks, and he went back to buy it again, and it was now in the price range of Biosimilar, and it was up to $1,000. That's how stupid it is. And within an hour, it was already gone. Whether it sold for that amount of money, I don't know. But this is a weird, crazy time. I've seen photos of looting, things like that. So, yeah. It's a crazy, crazy time. And I think we need to have a place that we can acknowledge our fears. Some really good advice I once saw somewhere for people with anxiety is you timetable in the time in the day that you're going to worry about that worry. You're going to worry about that fear from the point of view of you set aside the time, pick a time, 3:30, okay? You set aside, this is my worry time. And you tell yourself at every other time that it comes up, it's not my worry time. And then at 3 o'clock you go, it's my worry time now. I'm going to sort this out, or I'm going to just worry about it. These are my greatest fears. This is my time to unpack it. And then you put it away and you don't deal with it again until your next allotted time. And that was a way to acknowledge the worry, but not have it be obsessive and invading the rest of your life. And I thought that was some really good advice. And we do have a rule here in our house that we don't talk about contentious topics late at night. We allow ourselves the time to say, not now, not now. I did this last night. My husband started talking about something, and I said, not now. I'll talk about it tomorrow, but I'm not talking about it now. I'm not wanting to get into that brain thinking activation at 11 o'clock at night when it's the wind down time and not the wind up time. So little things like that have really helped. So there is a place, I think, for having the chicken little kind of time. But then we'll see if we can actually not just voice it, but maybe find solutions for it. And sometimes it's just naming that thing that is the fear. It's naming the emotion that disempowers it. Yeah, for me that is definitely rung true. If I'm struggling with something, it loses power as soon as I can name it. And that's something that I've had years of experience in doing. And yeah, if you can see it, it loses power. And I think that's a very valuable lesson to learn. So I'm hoping that I've got a few people who are still here with me. Hey, hello, pop me a flower in the comments. But more importantly, let me know if you having a time where you could be real with a premiere or live or something like that, or a StreamYard, where you want to come in on the conversation physically. You want to hook up and be a guest. They're getting a bit popular at the moment. But if there is something that you want to air and you've kind of nutted out a bit, yeah, please let me know. And we can explore this a bit together. And yeah, see what tools we can share with other people maybe. So please contact me. The contact details are in my description. If you want to private message me, if you want to see me on Instagram, if you want to join my Facebook page, follow my Facebook page, that's where you get all the crafty stuff. If you have liked this video, please click like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications for when it happens again. Yeah, I'll see you around, and I will talk to you soon. I'll probably have a video out tomorrow even, but this is my midweek whip and chat for you guys, and I hope you have enjoyed me answering some odd questions and some good questions, and just doing life with, you know, kids and things and distractions and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, and I will see you around on the tubes. Bye for now.